What is up, everybody? I hope you're all doing well. Today we are checking out the Seymour Duncan Vapor Trail Deluxe Analog Delay. Now, some of you may be familiar with the original Vapor Trail. This is the same delay in that it employs the same BBD circuit or bucket brigade delay circuit, but they've added a bunch of really cool features to it. So, for starters, they've added a tap tempo, which is great, and it allows you to choose between quarter note, dotted eighths, eighth notes, triplets. Really, a really nice feature to have in a BBD style delay. And beyond that, they've added really cool modes. Now, there's 4 modes in this delay that are really cool. There's micro delay, pitch sequence, Runaway, and pitch bender. We'll get into how all that sounds in the demo. Now, there's some cool routing features as well. So you have your, just like any effect, you would have your input and your output. But they also have, between those 2 jacks, it's called the wet insert. And what that allows you to do is well, quite a few different things. What I would use it for is almost as an effects loop, because it's an insert that only affects the wet or repeats of the delay. So if I wanted to go in there and add, like, say, a phaser, like an old MXR phaser, or maybe even an Octavia, or in my case, I think what I would really put in there is like a Boss GE7 or something, so that I could have complete control over just the delay EQ. I think that would be really cool. Now, I'm not going to dive into that in the demo, but this is a really cool feature, because I think there's enough going on in this pedal that I don't need to necessarily dive into that. And there's other things you can do with this. You can separate the wet signal from the dry signal for stereo. There's a couple other things you can do with it that's really, really cool. Another feature that they added is the expression pedal input. Now, I'm not going to dive into that. I think you guys are all familiar with what an expression pedal does. It allows you to change any parameter pretty much on the pedal with your foot instead of your hand. So that's a really cool feature. Let me just quickly go through what's on the top of this thing. You've got your mix, that's obvious. You've got your repeats, that's obvious. You've got your delay time, so that's the length of the delay. Now you have your depth and rate. That's going to apply to modulation effects. You can see that the depth also has what's called multi next to it. That applies to the delay modes. We'll get into that in the demo. And then, of course, your rate also will have a bit to do with some of those modes, but the rate is more typical of what a rate would be. You guys know what that does for modulation. It's going to speed it up and slow it down. You have a bypass, obviously, to bypass a delay, but this switch also allows you, if you hold it down, to go between the presets that I had mentioned before. And then you obviously have your tap tempo. That's obvious. We know how that works. But if you hold it down, you can do other things within the delay modes. If you want to choose between presets, after you've held down the bypass, you can choose between presets, which is really cool. So without further yammering on, let's check out this Seymour Duncan Vapor Trail Deluxe Analog Delay. Okay, let's get into some sounds on the Vapor Trail Deluxe. I thought I would start out with just the sound I dialed up for that opening performance that I did. Obviously, here's the guitar straight into the amp. And here is the Vapor Trail. So really nice, warm sounding delay with some modulation and some, good amount of repeats. And, there's quite a bit of effect obviously going on right now in the wet dry mix. But I just wanted that to cut through because it was really the main part of the song. So I wanted to make sure if I couldn't edit in post, which in this case I can't because I'm running straight into the amp, that was there. So I might circle back around to that. What I would like to do is, I don't think we need to go through these tap tempo modes. I think you guys understand quarter note, eighth note, dotted eighth, and triplet. I don't think we need to go through what those do, but that's, you know, basically I tapped in a quarter note for that song to tempo, and that's how I did it. Let's check out these modes, because these are what I think is so cool about this delay. So let's go to the micro delay mode, which is going to be the first delay mode, and see what we can dial in. Now, you're going to use the micro delay mode. I believe it's 300 milliseconds is the longest. And really what you're using this mode for is to create like slapback delays, maybe chorus, maybe even like slight vibrato, you know, bordering on maybe flanging. That's what you're going to use this for. So basically I just kind of turned everything quickly to get us into how I would use this, which would be more as kind of a chorus. So I've obviously got the delay time way down, super quick. I can roll, you know, the depth to pretty extreme. Same thing with the rate. You can go really slow. All the way to so fast that it, you know, it pretty much levels out again. But what I like to do is, you know, that first sound is a kind of a faster, kind of chorusy thing. But I can also go with more depth. And the reason I'm doing that is not to be completely obnoxious, even though I am personally obnoxious. It's so I can hear what the rate's doing. And then it allows me to kind of then dial in my depth, because I wanted to go for like a slower delay rate. Now, if I wanted to fatten up a little bit, I can actually increase the delay time. So I just turned up the depth, added some wet. That's obviously all the way dry. So you can get that kind of thing going. We can add some feedback to it. So that sounds cool. Now, you know, we can go the other way. Like I could go all the way wet. We can go minimum. Shut the repeats off. And have more of like a vibrato kind of thing. So it's kind of a fat, vibrato thing. And then of course we can always just turn the depth and rate off, maybe add some feedback and do more of just like a straight up. And keep in mind, I had that all the way wet, so that's how we got our vibrato effect. Or we could, go more the route of just more of a fat, slap back. Let's go to the next mode, which is the pitch sequencer. This is a really cool mode. I had a lot of fun with it. So it does exactly what you think it does. It kind of sequences pitches. Now, in this case, you can choose, how many steps are in the sequence with the depth and multi control. Turn all the way to the right. That's going to be the most sequence. The rate will control the speed of the sequence. Your repeats are still exactly what you think they are. And then it can be tapped, or you can manipulate it via the time, either way. Now, I know if you want to dig deep into this, you can change the type of sequence. I think there's like 7 of them or something. So if you want to go in and really like get tweaky, you can. I really like the way it's set up right now. And what I did with it in the track is I actually employed letting it oscillate. So you get the idea. So it's a really cool effect. That's what you heard at the beginning of the song. I just kind of faded it in and out in the mix, but I actually played with it throughout the whole mix, and I just thought it was so cool. So that's how that mode works. The next mode is Runaway, and it's really cool too. It just basically allows you to have control over the feedback via the tap tempo. So in this case, you would hold down the tap tempo. And you do still want to set your feedback, and what it's going to do is it's going to, once you lift off, it's going to go to the original feedback setting. So you kind of have to have an idea, of what you would like it to do, but so that's a really cool effect. Just and I did employ that in a few sections just to take advantage of. So it's a really cool control. You can still obviously add, depth and rate if you want to modulate it. So you can have a lot of fun, definitely. And sorry, I have the sniffles today. allergies, so I do apologize. Okay, so that's how that works. So really, yeah, it's just a really fun effect. Killer for just, you know, ear candy type stuff. Last but not least is pitch bender. And you guys definitely heard that in the track. Same function, but it allows you to basically have the pitch bend down or up, depending on how you have the pedal set up. And that's how I used it in that track. Now I can vary what's going on, so I can make it so that it ramps up slower via the rate control. I can have it. I can actually. This is set up so it's set up to go up right now, and you use the multi control to choose whether you're going to go up or down. So if I want it to go down instead of up, I can go the other way with it. Or I can have it go up. So it's just a really fun control. I can have it, obviously I can make it so it ramps up sooner. Go the other way. Once again, it's a really cool, just kind of ear candy effect that I loved. You know, that's one of my favorite things to do, is just layer more kind of ethereal, you know, not so much guitar stuff. So that's the 4 modes. Let's go back to just the presets, because you can save presets. So I've saved 3 in here. So yeah, let's go into that mode. Now I got into that mode by holding down. It says hold for presets, so I didn't have to read the manual to figure this out. But you hold that down, you'll see the M light come on, and then you can toggle through the presets. So the way I saved my first preset was for that initial sound for the performance. So that's that preset. The second preset I saved, if I remember correctly, is the ramp preset, or I should say pitch bender. And then the third preset, I ended up doing as that kind of chorus sound. So the chorus sound I was using with, I don't know why I'm pointing back there because you can't see it, but the Duesenberg guitar, the kind of high thing, that's the sound that I saved. So it's really cool that you can save some of your favorite settings, you know, and just bump through them really quickly. So that is the Vapor Trail Deluxe. I know there's quite a bit more as far as getting into the expression pedal and the wet dry, but for me, I just felt like, well, there's so much going on just in these modes and all the controls and tweaks that you can do, that I would rather just showcase that. And I think it's, yeah, I think it's a really great sounding, once again, warm delay pedal that is just super musical. It's easy to dial. I didn't have to dive into the manual to sort it out. So once again, that's the Vapor Trail Deluxe. If you've got any further questions, go to the Seymour Duncan website and check it out. And as always, I really appreciate you guys tuning in, and we will see you next time.